You know the songs.
Just making people feel something.
It's been a pleasure to work on this song with her.
But do you know the history?
It's a struggle making any kind of record.
I don't always have the direction or concept.
This is Encore, an in-depth look at the stories behind the music. Here's iHeartRadio's Ruby Carr.
I had the distinct pleasure of sitting down for a chat with Simple Plan's drummer and album co-writer Chuck Comeau to look back on the process of putting together what would eventually become Still Not Getting Any, and we discussed the pressure the band was under at the time.
My name's Ruby. I'm from iHeartRadio Canada. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. We're going to be doing an episode of the Encore podcast about Welcome to My Life. So we're going to talk about that. But first, I did want to ask about this because I read that you guys had about 3 months after coming off tour to write 10 songs for your second album. So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's crazy. They say you have all the time in the world to make your first album. It's kind of a cliche thing. And then, you know, for us, it took a while. Like it took almost a year of touring for anything to start happening at radio and on MTV and everything. And then it just started to blow up and we just had to keep touring. And, you know, there was so much happening. We had like 3 different singles that did amazing, or actually 4, and we just toured and toured and toured, and then it was almost 2 years and a half since the release of the first record, and then we're like, okay, well now we have to follow it up, and the record label was like putting a lot of pressure, like we need to put it out now, and it was like, okay, we just finished 2 years and a half of nonstop touring, and we just went to Vancouver because Pierre at the time lived there. And we got a hotel room, and every single day around 10 or 11 a.m. he would show up and we would just work all day. And we knew we had this little bit of a gun on our heads and this deadline that we're trying to meet. So we wrote in the fall a little bit, and then pretty much from like, I think 3 months is a little exaggerated, maybe like another 5-6 months. But it was a lot. I mean, we took like 2-3 years to write our first record, and we had to make this one in months. And we started recording. We were not even done writing. We started recording like the 4 songs that we felt were going to be like music videos and singles. And then as we were recording those, we were writing the rest of the record in the studio, Pierre and I. So it was intense. I mean, so much so that we were mixing the songs, and we still had the song that we didn't know if the lyrics were going to stay or not. So we call it Untitled because we didn't know if the title was going to change or not. And we had to print the album covers because back then it was CDs. So we were like, oh, let's be artistic. Let's call it Untitled just in case the lyrics change. So we don't have weird random lyrics that are not there anymore. So it was full on. It was all hands on deck, but it turned out amazing. I think we came off, like us coming off of this first record doing so well. There was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of confidence that, you know, like, what we believed in, the kind of band that we wanted to be was working, and people were connecting with that music. So I think there was lots of momentum, and that was exciting. And then, I mean, there was a lot of fear as well. And, you know, you never know if it's going to keep going, right? Like you always hope for, but a lot of bands are one hit or one album wonder. And we didn't want to be that. So I think we had a chip on our shoulder. We wanted to prove something with the second record. And yeah, it turned out really great. It's still definitely one of my favorite in our discography.
Why is it one of your favorites?
Just, you know, sometimes just things click. The process was really fun to the actual recording. Usually it's kind of tedious. And this one, we did it with Bob Rock, an amazing producer. He made like the Black Album from Metallica, and he was one of those like legends of recording, and it was so much fun. We were really scared because we had heard that he changed everything and he was really tough on bands in the studio, and it turned out to be the complete opposite. And he said, look, I'm tough when I need to be. I change things when I need to be, but your songs, you guys have worked really hard. Like we demoed everything. Everything was planned. Everything was like ready. It wasn't just showing up with like an acoustic, you know, everything was arranged. And we put a lot of effort and thought into it. And he's like, I don't need to change anything. I love it. Let's just record it. And he helped us. He gave us some advice, of course, but it just felt like a really fun environment. And he was really great in the studio. And he gave us a lot of confidence. He just believed in our songs and our band. And he made it sound the way that we envisioned in our heads. We wanted to make like a big arena rock kind of record. We wanted to make like like, because our first record, we didn't love the production, the sound. We wanted this one to sound bigger and, just more powerful. And he really did that. He just nailed it. And it was amazing. And the writing, sometimes you can work really hard for a year and a half, 2 years, and the songs, for whatever reason, not because you don't put a lot of effort, but they lack maybe a bit of magic. This one just, we were just hitting home runs after home runs. We just felt really good about where we were at, and it turned out amazing. And when I listen to them, there's something really, they still stand up now 20 years later. So, and people still love them. So I guess we were onto something.
And were you trying to go in more of a rock direction?
I don't think it's still, well, I mean, we wanted to stay true to ourselves, but we wanted to expand the sound a little bit too. We wanted to be a bit more ambitious. We wanted to make something that was a bit more mature. It's normal, like we were 19 when we wrote the first record. Now we were, I don't know, 22, 23. So our taste evolved a little bit. We wanted to make something that we felt would take us to a whole different level. And we wanted to make something that, I don't know, that just had just more intensity, more energy, more, and that was a bit more mature, and we didn't want to completely reinvent the band. We just wanted to keep in the logical direction that taking the next step would take us, and yeah, so when I look back, like that record has a lot of all the sides of Simple Plan that we love and that our fans love. It has really great energy. It's in your face. It's fast, but there's also these kind of big, memorable, epic choruses that we're sort of known for. There's a ballad like Untitled that's, a side of our band that we discovered when we did Perfect on the first record. It wasn't really in our wheelhouse. And then we realized that, wow, like we can actually write songs that people really connect with on like an emotional level. And we realized that, hey, this is a new side of the band that we can tap into, and that we're good at, and that we can, make songs that people make them feel something, And so yeah, it just has everything. It has all the ingredients of what it's like. It's a very quintessential Simple Plan record,
Well, and that makes sense because your fans would have been growing with you too. So
yeah.
Want to,
well, I think that
I'm sure your fans are doing the same thing.
there's always a bit of pressure as a band to like, it's a very tight rope to walk, because you kind of like, you have to evolve, and there's a pressure to feel like, okay, we can make the exact same record, but at the same time, you don't want to make something that's completely unexpected, or that people are like, oh, that's not them. So it's like, it's finding that balance between like trying to innovate, but at the same time trying to stay true to what you loved about your band when you first started, and what people loved about your band when they discovered you. So it's like that tension between evolving, but at the same time staying true to your sound. So I think on that one, we were able to really found that balance. And I love it for that reason. It sounds like us, but it also doesn't sound like a copy of the first record. It was like a cool evolution, and I don't know, just really proud of that record.
And now we're taking it back to 2004. I was blasting this in my car with my very fresh driver's license.
Nice.
Do you remember about recording Welcome to My Life?
Well, I mean, I remember vividly writing it. We were like in a hotel room like this. We were staying in Vancouver at I think it was the Westin on Robson Street, and we sat down, and I had this idea, this line. That's usually how we start songs. Pierre and I is like, I'll come up with a hook or like a title or a line in a song, like, and usually it's the main line of the song. So I was like, welcome to my life. I heard people saying like, like in conversation, like, oh yeah, welcome to my life. And I was like, oh man, that could be a song. That sounds iconic. That sounds like something big. And then I kind of came up with the idea of like, not as a joke, but more like heartfelt and genuine feelings, So I brought that up and to Pierre, and he was messing around, and then he started singing it, and he sang it in a way that was like, oh, wow, that's magic. Like, that's it. That's how we have to do it. You found it. Like, it took a life of its own when he sang it, because when it's just word on paper, it's just words, and it's a cool idea. But once you hear with the chords, with the melody, with him singing it with his voice, it became a Simple Plan song right away. And we started writing it, and we just had that hunch, like, we're onto something. We got something special. We captured something special, and we rolled it. And I remember we burned it on the CD, and he had a little Jetta, and we drove around Vancouver for like 3 hours, just playing the song over and over again, going like, all right, I think, I think we're gonna be okay. Like, I think we're gonna have a career. Like, it's not gonna end with this first record. We just had this kind of peaceful excitement at the same time, but like this kind of like zen of like, hey, like we can still do this. We can still write songs that will connect. And then we played it for the rest of the band and our manager and our label, and the reaction was a little bit like, okay,
Really?
yeah, we like it. Yeah. And then we were so like shocked and kind of bummed. We were like, are you serious? Like, and when we ended up recording it, we raised it up just a little bit so it's a bit higher, so in his voice register. And then people are like, oh yeah, now it's awesome. And I'm like, okay. So we just, as soon as we recorded it, we heard it back. As soon as Bob put his like, his whole production touches on it, it just felt like we had something special. And in the studio, same thing. We would blast it, and I think we mixed it in Vancouver. And when we heard it, we were like, okay, this has to be the first single. And the label fought us really hard. They wanted Shut Up to be the first single. And we're like, to the point where the president was like, I'll jump off a building if it's not Shut Up. And I'm like, no, it has to be Welcome to My Life. I'm telling you, we know our fans. We know our band. We know this is the one that's going to really resonate and mean a lot to people because of the lyrical content, because of the melody and everything. It just felt like the ultimate Simple Plan song. And sure enough, this is one of our most streamed songs still today. This is the one that really elevated the band globally. Like, it blew up everywhere around the world. And it's still one of our biggest songs when we play live, So I guess we knew what was a good Simple Plan song, I think we were always our best A&R. We were always the best people to know, like, this our fans will love. This represents the band, And we had that feeling immediately with that song.
Well, it was #2 in Canada and it was top 40 in the US. So did you like have a moment where you got to point to that and be like, oh, remember when you guys wanted to do a different song and we wanted to do this one?
Nah, we didn't rub it in people's faces. We were
Okay,
just
good.
like, hey, let's take the win as a team, Because I mean, look, it's hard. Nobody can predict things. It's really hard to know. And sometimes you make mistakes and you don't want to be, cocky about it. You just kind of want to just like, we just felt like this is our hunch, like we have this gut feeling. And sometimes in life, you really got to follow your gut instinct, and you gotta, if you feel it in your gut and you really believe in it, and it's, you kind of know it in your heart of hearts, like, this is something that you should do. You just got to fight for it and believe in it, and we just had that feeling. And sometimes on some records, you don't have it the same way. You're not sure. It could be between one or song or two songs or 4 or 5 songs sometimes, but it's definitely helps to have that clarity. So I think we were just really happy that we made the right decision together, and it's good to be challenged by other people as well, because then it makes you really think and really decide if you're sure or not.
Did that success change things for you guys? Like, change anything for the band?
Oh, 100%. It was a game changer, that song for us. That record, that second album was huge because the first record did really, really well in Canada, US, Australia, Japan. But there was a lot of parts in the world where it did good, but it didn't bring us to like where we wanted to go. And this one was really the beginning of our, like, we went to Southeast Asia for the first time. We went to and really blew up there. South America and Brazil and Mexico really exploded there. Europe, we had like France and lots of really big success in Europe with that record. So it really opened up the doors globally for the band. It really was the beginning of this sort of worldwide success for the band. And that's when we really lean into the idea of wanting to be a band that would go everywhere, international band that would play in as many countries as possible. I think being from Canada, you're a lot more, as artists, we're a lot more open to traveling everywhere. Like sometimes, like if you're from the US, it's such a big country and there's so many places to play, and having success there, it's enough. But for us as Canadians, we just had this different vision. We wanted to travel. We were curious about different cultures. We wanted to go visit all these places. We wanted to eat the different food. We wanted to try everything. We wanted to use this band as not only a way to make a living, but as a way to expand our horizons and learn and do cool things and travel to places and experience different cultures. So we really leaned into it and we went everywhere. And these songs opened the doors for us to be able to do that.
Did you have a favorite place that you traveled to during that time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so many. but one that stands out was probably South Africa. It was probably one of the coolest place that the band took us. We did a festival with Metallica there of all bands, and it was, childhood idols. So it was really special. We did a safari while we were there all together. It was one of those core memories that, you look back and you go like, yeah, it's amazing to play live and to do the shows, but it's everything around it as well that makes it so special and makes us so, like privileged and lucky that we get to live this life, is because you get to see all this other stuff and you really enjoy it. And so it was really cool. We went to Brazil for the first time as well, and we were just shocked by how big the band was there. I mean, we never expected it, and the shows were massive. The people waiting at airports, running after you, waiting in hotels. It felt like a bit of like Beatlemania, It was really, really cool to experience that. And yeah, we had some amazing trips and some amazing moments on that record.
Well, and you talked about the song connecting to fans. And to this day, there are still comments on YouTube on the video of people letting you guys know what the song meant to them. So what was the reaction like then?
It was really great. I mean, you could just feel like at the shows, people were singing every word. You could see it. And then we would always meet people before or after the show, whether it was a signings or just by the bus or wherever we were. And people would come up to us and say, like, this song has really helped me. Has really and made me feel less alone. It made me feel like I wasn't the only person feeling this way, and it helped me pull through in some difficult moments in my life. And even now, 20 years later, people tell us, like, if it wasn't for this song, I wouldn't be here today. And at first you hear that, and there's a little bit of like you're not sure the person is really exaggerating but then you hear it 5 times, and 100 times, and 1,000 times, and you start to feel like, wow, like music is powerful. It's a lifeline for a lot of people. A lot of people are going through difficult moments. A lot of people are lonely, don't have a lot of friends or family support. And they turn to music, they turn to bands, they turn to songs, and it really carries them through some really tragic moments sometimes. Like we heard as a band, people feel like they know you in some ways because they spend so much time listening to your, it's a very intimate experience to listen to something in your headphones or in your room. And they confide a lot of things in you that are sometimes a bit shocking or surprising. And you hear it makes you realize that people have a lot of hardships and a lot of, tough moments in their lives, and people dying and, like suicide attempts and everything. And they confide in you, and it makes you realize just how much music is powerful and it can really help people, and it's heavy to hear all that because you want to do more than just writing songs for them. But you also realize that you writing songs does make a difference. Even if you can't help directly each person, you're doing something not just us, but any musician is doing something of service to people. So it led us to want to start our foundation as well, and to have a more direct impact on people and really help people out. And it's been such a positive thing for us. It's been so rewarding to be able to not only help with our music, but also with the foundation and help young people that need it, because there's so many people that are struggling. So yeah, it's been like an eye-opening experience.
Well, you created a community for your fans too, because in preparation for this, when I was reading through those comments, and I just thought I saw them reaching out to each other through you, because other people were responding to those comments of people saying what the song meant to them all those years ago. And they were saying, yeah, it was the same with me. I thought I was alone. And then I heard this song and realized.
Right. Yeah, we still see it a lot at the shows. Like so many people come up to us and they're like, I met my best friends because of you guys, on some chat room or on some, platform online, or even in real life. Like I came to the show alone and I left with 3 new friends, and now we're best friends, and we go to all the concerts together, and we text, and we keep in touch. And so there's a lot. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of people dismiss sometimes, bands like us or anyone like pop punk. Oh yeah, it's not really serious music, and it's not like, and I can understand the criticism and I understand it, but from what I see in the real world, it really does affect people, and it really helps a lot of people. So I think that it's been overall for us, it's been so positive to see that, and it feels cool to be a part of this community, like you were saying, that people find each other, they help each other out, They have things in common. They have this band and these songs and this scene in general, pop punk or emo or whatever you want to call it. It feels like home for a lot of people. And it feels like that. Like we have this song called "Where I Belong" that we did recently that talks about that. Just like feeling like being at that show, being a fan of a certain band or a certain culture, like it makes you feel like you found your home. And I think that's really powerful. It's really cool. Everybody needs that in their lives. And people find it in different ways. You can find it through books or movies, or you can find it through friendship or whatever it is. But as long as you find something you're passionate about, it really helps.
And let's talk about the music video. So what do you remember about shooting the music video on the bridge?
Yeah, so we came up with the concept of like this traffic jam and being stuck. I mean, there's nothing more like challenging and tough than when you're like, in the middle of summer, it's so hot and your car's not going anywhere. So we thought it was a cool visual. And we thought about the bridge idea and thought it was kind of really iconic. It could be a really iconic like visual moment. And then I came up, I mean, I worked really hard on the music video and all the visuals, and I thought it would be so cool to have Pierre on the top of a bridge
So
singing
was
the
he
lyrics.
really up there?
Oh, he was, yeah, and he wasn't very happy when he read the treatment of the video. He's like, "Are you serious? I gotta do this?" And he had a little like harness and like not even like just a rope, but he was really sitting on the edge of that bridge. And it was in Long Beach, California. It was we wanted to do it in Montreal. Like we asked in Toronto, we asked for all these permits for these iconic bridges in Canada, and it was a lot of red tape. And we were able to
Our
find this
traffic
one.
is bad enough. You can't be out here closing our
Right, like yeah, like we thought it might be a backlash on the band if we shut down like the Jacques Cartier Bridge in Montreal or something. People would be pretty angry at us. Like, yeah, this all this traffic is brought to you by Simple Plan. Oh, thanks. But so like we ended up shooting it. Back then there was no drones. It was 2004, so there was like a chopper going around him the entire time and filming him, and they were coming close. But it turned out really iconic, and people talk about it, and it's like visually really stunning. And it was the era where you could make these very ambitious music videos, and you had the budgets, and people were just willing to, like, labels were willing to spend that kind of money on making really special videos because they were really important. So for us it was super cool to be able to take a song and turn into something visually interesting and that would enhance the meaning of the song, right? So I think it came out really great. That video was really dope.
And you guys have played shows with Avril Lavigne, Sugar Ray, Blink-182, Green Day, Warped Tour. So do you have any stories you could tell me about those tours and those shows?
Yeah, I mean, we were just last night we played with Avril Lavigne on the Warped Tour in DC, Washington. It was the 30th anniversary. We've done Warped Tour so many times. I mean, it's just great. Like it's a full circle moment for us to be on tour with her. We did her first arena tour and our first arena tour in 2003, back when our first records, both of us were coming out, and were blowing up. And it's really cool more than 20 years later now to full circle and get to tour together again. She's been so kind and awesome to us, and we just had a song together that came out. So it's cool that friendship back then, like we were just hanging out, we were just all really young, and it was the first of everything, right? First arena tour, first time like traveling to a lot of these cities, and first time being on TV and doing all this stuff, and I think it felt really nice to be in that bubble with someone else that was experiencing the same thing. I mean, she was on a whole different scale, but I think it was cool for her to have a band from Canada that she had things in common with, and that she could sort of, form this little bubble around and just have this little community on tour together. I think it was really, really fun. But yeah, I mean, playing with Blink, playing with Green Day, like you said, like having Sugar Ray take us on our first US tour ever. Literally, our first tour ever of all time was with Sugar Ray. They took us under their wing. Same thing with, Blink, and Mark Hoppus especially was so generous to us. Like he sang on that Do Anything when we had literally nothing going on. We flew to San Diego. He came on one of his days off and didn't have to do that at all. He was the biggest. They were the biggest band in the entire world at that time. They were literally playing like stadiums, and being the biggest band in on MTV Awards and everything. And the fact that he would do that for a band that had literally nothing, just shows how generous they were, and how cool of a mindset he had, that always to give back to that scene that helped them, get so big. And it was really cool for us to be a part of that and to have people help like that. So we look back on this stuff, and it's funny. I just out of the blue, he texted me yesterday, Mark, and he was saying like, "Hey, here are some pictures that my mom found," and I was like, of like you guys in 2001 on tour with us, and I was like, it's really cool that you can be friends with somebody that you grew up like literally like idolizing. So it's pretty awesome.
That is the most wholesome story I've ever heard.
Right?
Just him texting you with those pictures. It's adorable.
He's just really, really kind, really great guy.
And you guys are playing with Avril again for All Your Friends Fest coming up, Burles Creek in Ontario. So what do you have planned for that?
It's gonna be awesome. I think it's one of the last shows we're gonna be doing on this leg with her. It's been so fun. We went all over the U.S. the last 2 summers, and we haven't played as much shows in Canada as we would have loved with her. So this is gonna be really special. We're doing the song together every night, Young and Dumb, which is great. Like, it's really cool to get to go on during her show and to get to join her. Really special. And I've heard a lot about this festival. I hear it's like really a beautiful site that I've never been, so I'm excited to check it out. But I hear it's like right in the middle of nowhere, but in a cool way, and I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really fun. Lots of energy. Lots of for us, we just go on stage and we jump around and we try to make sure everybody that is in that place leaves with the biggest smile on their face, and gets to hear a song that hopefully we're part of their childhood or whatever. And just have a good time. All
right, well, we're gonna be there, and can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, looking forward to the episode of Encore coming out, all about your song. And thank you for sharing all these notes, because these are things that, we need to get straight from the source.
Of course. Happy to do so.
Encore is an iHeartRadio Canada podcast. Download the free iHeartRadio app and subscribe.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.